What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Punk Rock Radar. Today is episode number 4 of the Punk Connection. And if it's your first Punk Connection episode, what we're going to do is recommend bands for you. If you're a fan of MxPx, the Descendants, or the Misfits, we've each picked out 2 bands that go along with each of those. And I'm joined, as always, by Dylan, aka Screeching Bottle Rocket from DyingScene.com. And also, it is also Dylan's birthday tomorrow, August 18th. So make sure you leave him a happy birthday in the comments. With that said, Dylan, how you feeling today?
I'm great. It's kind of sort of my Friday, so it's party time.
It is party time, and the first band up, Dylan, is going to be MxPx. So who was your first recommended, if you like, for MxPx?
It was tough coming up with similar sounding bands. I mean, all these bands we're talking about in this video today have a very, like signature sound that no one else has like perfectly recreated. So I went for like stuff that just kind of has a similar vibe. So my first comp for MxPx is a band called Show Off. That's all one word. And the way I discovered these guys was searching for MxPx on Spotify, then clicking on a smaller related artist, and then keep drilling down from there. Just keep going to smaller and smaller bands on the recommended artist section of the profiles, and just like listening to a few songs from one of those bands. So these guys have a very close feel to MxPx, the late 90s like Life in General feel, I feel like. And they've been around for a while too. They've been around since at least 1997, it looks like. The album that sounded the most like MxPx to me was the 1999 self-titled album.
Yeah. So, I forgot you were picking this. Show Off is a band, dude. I found them on Napster back in like 2000. It was this song Spill. And, I definitely think it's a good pick. I want to see. So after this one, they were going to have another, it's here now. This album, Wish You Were Her, which is a brilliant album name, was like shelved for like 2 decades, I want to say, but I really like their last one, Midwest Side Story. I've got a bunch of these songs pinned. Yeah, great pick. My first one is going to be this band Wishful Thinking, and they're from Australia. They've been around quite a while. They had, I think, a 13-year hiatus, but they are back. They put out this EP in 2022. And I think like this album here is very like before, everything, and after sounding. Like this first track is definitely a banger. That's probably the one I'm going to play. But I also want to shout out this one here, Dreams Get Left in the Past. This is a compilation album of like a lot of their maybe like greatest hits, if you want to call it that. And this one is a lot more Life in General, teenage politics sounding. Victoria is my favorite song. That the ending of this song is awesome, but I also really like The Last Time and Kicking Goals. I had this picked out for an Off the Radar episode. It's a great album, whether or not you like MxPx, but if you do, highly recommend these guys, Wishful Thinking.
I've seen you watch me from the corner of your eyes. It comes as no surprise when you come out and the lights go down. Oh, I love this sound.
So, Dylan, what is your second one going to be?
Second one is going to be a band that's been broken up for a while, but they were part of that late 90s, early 2000s Christian punk, pop punk scene. Ace Troubleshooter. Never got big enough to make it on Tooth and Nail, but their self-titled debut album is fantastic. And again, if you like Life in General, teenage politics, that era of MxPx, Ace Troubleshooter is very similar to that sound.
Yeah, I used to like this song Amanda by these guys. I'm not sure if it's on here. Oh man, yeah, this song. I used to like these guys. One of these days we're gonna do that tooth and nail tier list too, man. We've been pushing it back for maybe 5 months or so. One of these days.
The trees will come up, the walls will fall down, the skies will drop, and I'll see it face to face. Yeah!
All right.
I forgot about it.
I forgot too. This one I can never find this band on here, so let's do this an alternate method. So my next pick and the last recommendation for MxPx fans is gonna be Golden Boy out of Norway. I already featured them on Off the Radar. I'm gonna feature them here again just because they're awesome and they deserve to be way bigger than they are. If you're a fan of MxPx, they have a wealth of albums here. I think you're gonna like all of them. My favorite one here is Healing is a Team Effort, especially the song My Favorite Holiday. Pros and Cons is also really good. And this would be in like that Panic or Ever Passing Moment through Panic range for fans of those albums. And if you dig back a little further, this one here, Right Kind of Wrong, this would be like their Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo recommendation. What If, What Not is my favorite song on this one, but overall you cannot go wrong with Golden Boy. Go check these guys out. I believe they're in the studio currently, so maybe we'll get some new songs from them.
You were young in love, never seemed to care about no one. With time, it all went wrong.
So moving along here, Dylan, we're going to do the Descendants next. So what is your first pick for people who like the Descendants?
This was the toughest of the three bands to find comparisons for. I don't think one exists, a perfect comparison. I don't think it exists. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and do a side project that people probably don't know about. Slorder, Slorder. So this was a very, very short-lived side project. You're going to have to help me with the pronunciation. Is it Steven or Stefan Egerton?
It's Stefan. It's Stefan, confirmed, yeah.
Okay, it's Stefan Egerton. And this is like an instrumental kind of thing. And I would say the vibe of the instrumentation is somewhere between the Descendants and all just that, just all over the place, like funky time signatures. It's really fun though. I like it a lot. I don't know if this release is their only one. There was another one on Bandcamp, and I don't know if it shared songs with this. But really cool songs and good background music.
Yeah, I've never heard of this, so nothing really to chime in, but we'll definitely check it out here. My first band is going to be Disqualifier. I know I could swear they just recently changed their name, but I cannot remember what they used to be called. But they're from Hartford, so some fellow Northeasterners up here, and I hear a lot of the Descendants in this band. They've got a lot of like interesting drum fills and tempo shifts. They even have a song called Ill Stevenson down here, which was like my little tip to pick this album. And I like this one too. The previous one, Nothing's on the Line, There's a Feeling in the USA is my favorite song that they have. But Disqualifier is going to be like Everything Sucks meets Breaking Things by All. It's kind of like a mix of those two albums. The Art of Letting Go on this album here, it sounds like it's straight off of Everything Sucks. Like if you just play this album and picture Milo's voice, you're going to think you're listening to the Descendants. They do a really good job with the style. It's the closest active band that I can think of.
If you're less than perfection, join the fucking club. There's no price of admission, you just need to admit that you suck.
But Dylan, what is your second pick?
All right, well, I got a band that isn't really active anymore, and then another one that is. So let's go with the active one. Another pronunciation thing. Duchamp. I think they're from the Netherlands, aren't they?
Germany or Netherlands?
Or Sweden. I think it's... Anyway, this is a super group. I think the singer is from Donuts. Or Do-Nots. These pronunciations, man, they kill me. Yeah, it's a super group. There's a bunch of dudes from other bands. I think the singer's from Donuts, Do-Nots. But yeah, they released a new album a few years ago, and it's super good.
Yeah.
So yeah, check these guys out. It doesn't sound exactly like the Descendants, but I feel like it has a similar feel.
Yeah, this was in my top of 2021. I love this record. I think I likened it to Kid Dynamite, but you could see there's a Descendants all feature song here. And great pick overall. Great album.
I'll tell you this because as an artist, I think you'll understand. Oh, sleep is the enemy. We're up all night.
I've got kind of two left also, and neither one of them are active. I'm just going to hit them quickly. The first one is this band Ryan's Hope, and these guys were pretty popular back when this came out in 2006. They were even on Punk News Records. They haven't done anything in like 15 years, unless they're doing something and I'm not aware of it. But the vocalist reminds me a lot of Chad Price, which is, it's not the Descendants, but it's close enough. And the album, the talent in the guitar player and talent in the drum player is really what, or the drummer, I don't know why I said drum player, is like what I think of when I think of the Descendants, and I can hear a lot of that on here. It's got tons of guitar leads, super fast drums. I think anybody who likes the Descendants will like this. And then, Dylan, real quick, I'm going to hit another band that's no longer active is Local Resident Failure. I don't know if the drummer of this went on to do another band, but the drums on this album are freaking incredible.
I Smith.
Yeah, Still Kicking On is the best song on here, and Playing the Race Card. I love this album. This is like Frenzel meets the Descendants, so those are my picks. What was your last one you want to throw in?
It would have been Big Drill Car. They kind of have a similar feel to the Descendants, I would say. Old school band.
I haven't heard of these guys either. All right, so moving on, the Misfits, Dylan, which is like the easiest and also the hardest, just because these horror bands are not like a dime a dozen, but they don't really sound like the Misfits. So
many attempt to imitate them, few achieve that. But yeah, obviously very influential band, spawned a subgenre, arguably. First recommendation I have is a band we talked about in our Best of June video, Chinese. From Russia, Moscow to be specific, if their social media is to be believed. A lot of bands like claim to be from Russia for some reason, but they aren't. Yeah, these guys are great. They have a bunch of singles and EPs out and stuff. The only album that I've seen is a live album. I don't know if it's actually live. It sounds kind of like it is, but it's kind of weird for such a small band like this to have a live album. Anyway, we talked about their Samhain cover of Archangel, and I would say this is like Michael Graves era Misfits gone skate punk is the feel I get from these guys, like consistently every song I listen to.
Yeah, I like this single too when I heard it when it came out, so another good pick. I'm gonna check out this live album too, because now I'm curious. All right, so my first pick for fans of the Misfits is going to be batshit crazy, and definitely this album here. I just want to show the vinyl here. This isn't a vinyl video, but this is one of my favorite looking records I have. I don't know how well it's going to show up, but it's got like this highlighter yellow. It's not showing up great on there, but this is like Good Riddance meets the Misfits. Like, it's not one of these like Ramones core bands that like Pumpkins. This is like a different sounding album altogether. Like such a waste of good suffering. Is that chorus, the rain down hellfire on me, is so badass. No solution. The man who was death. And I'm somebody who, you know, it's more my wife than me, but we have Halloween decorations up year round. And so I like the theming. I love that it sounds like a little like Good Riddance, and it's like melodic hardcore more than Ramones core, but it's definitely got a Misfits flair to it. If you are like lukewarm on the Misfits like me, but you love punk rock and horror stuff, go check out this Batshit Crazy album. I'm surprised it doesn't have more listeners, because there's a lot of really mediocre horror punk bands that just have like an interesting album cover or t-shirts or whatever, a little gimmick, that have way more plays, but this band blows them out of the water. So go check out Batshit Crazy. So Dylan, what is your second one going to be?
Another kind of... No, this isn't a side project. I'll give myself some credit here. Mourning noise. Mourning, like mourning someone's death. So this band features a former member of Sam Hain and I think kind of sort of current touring member of Danzig. Steve Zing. He played drums in Sam Hain and bass in Danzig. And this album here, the self-titled album, I think this is a bunch of like old songs, because this band was around in like the late 80s. So this album sounds almost exactly like the Misfits. The new EP they have on here, which I'm pretty sure is newly recorded, is kind of fucking dog shit. It sounds like Jerry only Misfits. So if you want a current authentic Misfits experience, listen to this EP, I guess. But if you want the old school shit, you know, like everything before Danzig blew the band up, then listen to this album.
All right.
33 fucking songs, man. What the hell's going on there?
All right. So Dylan, I had like another band picked out, but like when I was thinking of things to say, I was like, man, I don't even really like this. So I'm picking, I know like the point of this show is like small bands, but this is the best band to listen to if you like the Misfits. Calabrese is a better version of the Misfits. So I don't care that they have 114,000 monthly listeners. This is by far my favorite horror punk band, and this is probably their best album, The Traveling Vampire Show. Death Eternal and House of Mysterious Secrets are the best songs, but Saturday Night of the Living Dead, Young Princess of Darkness, and all bangers. Even this one here, Flee the Light, which is the most recent full length, has a little more of a stoner rock feel mixed with the typical Misfits stuff, but I really like this. It was on my best of 2019 list. So yeah, I'm picking Calabrese. If you want some dime a dozen Ramones core sounding bands, let me know. I will send you at least 10, but I can't distinguish between which is which. So, Dylan, do you have any other Misfits or any other picks for the people for this episode?
For Misfits fans, Aiden.
Oh, yeah.
Band that was around for a while, had a somewhat of a decent following, but I don't hear people talk about them much. They have an album that Their last album isn't on Spotify, and that one's pretty good too. And then some other like side projects for the other bands. MxPx, check out the Cooties and Arthur, and Descendants. Obviously, all. I think Bill Stevenson had I don't remember. Chad Price has a band called A Vulture Wake. They're pretty good.
There was this is pretty good too, actually. I don't know.
That was what I was thinking of. This album is awesome. It has a bunch of I think Bill plays drums on it. I could be wrong. But a bunch of guest vocalists like Chris from Less Than Jake and a ton of other different singers on these songs, and it sounds like the Descendants.
Speaking of the devil too, you got an MxPx, a Micah Herrera.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, this album is great. I don't know why this wasn't bigger than it was.
All right, so that is going to do it. And by the way, guys, we picked these 3 bands all based on suggestions from the Discord channel. So if you want us to find you bands that sound like your favorite band, make sure and join the Discord. There'll be a link to do that down below. That's also how we've got a couple other ideas. We're going to do our favorite mix CD, which is going to be picking 80 minutes of music, and a couple other ideas we got in there. So if you want to give us some ideas, there's a video you want to see, go head over to the Discord.
Or show off your record collection, or...
Oh, yeah, we do have a little collection part 2. You could take a picture of your rare vinyl and show it off, and we'll all gawk at it.
Tell us about the concert you went to last night where your friend passed out and cracked his head.
Oh jeez, yeah, that was
I was talking about that the other day.
Yeah, there was like a 2-hour discussion on 311 yesterday. It goes all over the place. So
off the rails.
Go join. We'd love to have you there. In the meantime, like I said, please wish Dylan a happy birthday. He's got a nice long weekend. Yeah, and Pulley's next. Pulley's the next tier list. It's not official yet, but I can't see anybody beating them. So again, recommend us bands you want to see as tier list in October. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, all that stuff, and we'll see you all next time.